As we'll get started. Okay, so welcome everyone. Glad to see everybody, all these bright shining faces this morning. It's the first time, isn't it, for something like this for the pension board? I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Zoom. First time we've done this online, so.
Yeah, right. Oh. I was trying to remember what the other meetings were when they were, but it was a while back. Okay, so why don't we get started? We have roll call then. Steve, you want to?
All right. Jim Ritzema.
Here.
Randy Eberts.
Here.
Michelle Emig.
Here.
Thomas Mayer.
Here.
And Commissioner Pradel.
Present.
Okay, welcome everybody. Guests, you want to introduce the guests then, Steve, too, as well?
Sure. So we have Donna Dugan from HR. She's here to help with the consideration of the duty disability today.
Okay.
Lisa Brown, our retirement services manager. Melissa Fuller, Deputy Director of Management Services. And then we have Clyde Robinson, City Attorney.
Okay, hi Clyde. All right, well, welcome everybody. And let's see. Any need for approval of the rules, I guess, for the remote meetings? This is our first one of.
That's on item D, so MC, yep. So we do have approval of the rules for meetings that allows us the rules for public comment and to actually hold this meeting remotely.
Okay.
Attached in your packet.
So this only requires a voice vote, is that right, Steve?
Yes.
Okay, so I entertain a motion to approve the rules then for this meeting, this remote meeting.
So moved.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, support. Thank you.
Support.
Okay, any discussion on this? Everybody understands the rules, I guess. Okay, it's pretty much like a regular meeting, except because of all the state and whatever acts we have to do this. So, okay, if no discussion, we'll vote on it. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, oppose the same. Okay, hearing none, the rules are approved. So that moves us to the minutes of the regular meeting that we held on March 4th before all this happened. And this is just a note here that we didn't have a June 3rd meeting. That's why this is our first virtual meetings that the pension board has had. So I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 4th.
I'll support.
Okay, thanks, Tom. A second?
Second.
Okay, great. I guess we did have, I didn't hear the approval, so okay. All right, any changes, additions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Both the same. Okay, great. All right, so get all the formalities out of the way and let's move down to the action items. We have 2A, which is approval of retirement applications. Steve, you want to run us through this or have one in your staff?
Sure. Pull this up here. Trying to make sure I'm on the right page.
Yeah.
In the minutes, so sometimes I get a little crossed.
Everybody have a copy of this? I know it's kind of hard with we had a pretty large packet too this time, so there's a lot of stuff.
Yes. So we have 11 requests for retirement. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Pretty standard business, I guess.
Okay. Any questions for Steve or any of the staff on these applications then? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the retirement applications.
So moved.
Okay, support?
Support.
Thank you. Any more discussion on these? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, oppose the same. Okay, so we've now approved action 2A, the approval of the retirement applications. That moves us to the approval of refund applications. So Steve, you want to walk us through this
Sure.
this list?
We've got 3 requests for refunds or rollover. 2 of them are refunds, one's a rollover. All people with pretty minimal service. I think the most service on the list is 2 years and 10 months, so quite a ways away from being vested. So again, pretty standard business on this one as well.
Okay. Questions for Steve or his staff? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the refund applications.
I'll support.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, did I have an approval on that? You're gonna support it though, whatever it might be. Okay.
I didn't have, who was the first? Did we have one?
Anybody want to
So,
entertain?
motion.
Okay, Michelle did that.
Yeah.
First. Thank you,
All
Michelle.
right, thank you.
Okay, great. So we have Michelle offering the motion, and then we have Tom supporting it. So with that out of the way, we any more discussion on this? Okay. If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, opposed the same. Okay, let's see if we can get our act together a little better for 2C, which is the approval of military buyback applications. We have 3 of them here, right, Steve?
Yep, 3 all for 36 months. Pretty straight and clean as far as the service records go for matching up with the, 36 months is the maximum we allow. And so pretty straightforward that each of them had the required service. I believe all of them were pretty much in a straight shot. So
Okay, so everything's according to what we have set for the rules for these military buybacks then. Okay. All right, so ready, everyone? I'm going to entertain a motion to approve. Anybody?
So moved.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, support?
I'll support.
Thank you, Chris. Okay. So any more discussion on this?
Are we doing all 3 at the same time or?
Can we do that, Steve or Clyde? Is that okay? Do all 3 at the same time, or do we need to do them separately?
I see Clyde's trying to say something. Clyde, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Clyde. I don't know if that, just push the space bar or something for a brief yes or no.
You may take it as a group. I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go. Okay, great. Thanks, Jim. So we have a motion. Is that okay with the Jim? Motion to approve all 3 together. All right. Okay. Hearing no more discussion on this, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed the same. Okay, so we've approved George Waring, Thomas Pritchard, and Christopher London for their military buyback applications. Okay. We are down now to 2D, which is approval of prior service buyback, but I take it there's no applications at this point still, right?
There were none for this meeting.
Okay. So that moves us into 2E, the approval of duty disability application, which is from Aaron, I'll probably pronounce her name wrong, but Weedbrock?
Yep, correct. Weed Rock.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we've had a lot of information here. Steve, do you want to kind of summarize this for us?
Yeah, so I guess, real quick summary is that it's staff's recommendation to approve this duty disability. It was clear that it happened in the line of duty. The injury occurred during a fire. The doctor's opinion was pretty straightforward on this one. I'll kind of pass it off to Donna Dugan if she wants to add anything further or add a little bit more color to the picture to it.
Well, the date of injury was in December of 2017, and he had extensive therapy, surgery, and restricted duty since that time. And it's pretty clear that he will not be able to do the duties of his position as sergeant.
Okay. Great, thank you. Does that mean that he has any employment possibilities with the city, or is that, is there any possibility of him being able to fulfill any other
So for the police position or the public safety positions, that's not a requirement.
Okay.
It has to be the duties of their position.
right?
So
Okay.
we previously had one that was not a public safety member. I think one of the last times we met that came into play a little bit.
Okay, but this doesn't matter at all then in terms of this particular position. Okay. Any questions for Steve or Donna or anyone regarding this from the board or from anyone else? Okay. So hope everyone's had a chance to go through it. staff has recommended that this be approved, and so that's very positive. So let's, well, I'll entertain a motion then to approve this disability for Aaron Weedbrock.
So moved.
Okay, Jim's moved it. Is there support for this?
Support.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, any more discussion on this application?
I just want to thank Aaron for his service. I know him and great guy, and wish him well. And sorry he was injured. I know he has a passion for this, so I hope he does well.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jim. Right, I don't think we say enough about you know, their commitment and what they do on, you know, for the community. So again, I think we can certainly as a board extend our you know, good wishes and thanks for all the service that Aaron has given us over the years as well. And sorry that his service has been you know, cut short by this injury. So okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, I think we had a motion and support for this. Anything else that somebody would like to say regarding this application? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Okay, so the motion has been approved for duty disability for Aaron Weedbrock, and again, with that, our thanks for his service goes with this approval. So thank you very much, Aaron. Okay, that moves us to the last action item here, and that's the approval of reciprocal request recommendation by Mark Laster. Steve, do you want to?
I have a bit of an update to this. I received an email this morning from Mr. Laster requesting that he withdraw his request at this time. So he was able to read through the packet, read through our opinion, and decided not to move forward at this time. Doesn't mean he will not come forward later, but he asked that we not consider it today.
Okay. Just for my own information, remind me again what the reciprocal request is.
So reciprocal retirement is if you work for another eligible municipality within Michigan,
Okay.
you can carry over those years of service. And so typically those would carry forward just to get you vested for your benefits. So if your vesting was 10 years and you had 5 years at the city and you brought forward 5 years from another municipality, you could then be vested for a pension. It does not add to your calculated years of service. And then the city has interpreted that to allow for vesting for some of the enhanced benefits. As you read in the packet, some of that is in play right now with being approved by the city commission. So those changes are typically made prospectively, not retroactively. So that's kind of a summary of what reciprocal service is.
Okay, well, thanks, Steve. And just for my own information, even though he's withdrawn it, Mr. Laster is in what department or?
He was in public safety. He had retired, and I forget the date. It had been quite a while ago.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious. Great. Okay, so that's been withdrawn for the moment, and we might see this again, as Steve just mentioned. Okay, that moves us to item number 3A, which is information. These are 2 or 3 information onlys, and one is deaths of retirees. Okay, we have that in front of us, page 31 now. Okay. And then 3B is new hires. All right, and that's page 32. Okay, any comments on this, Steve, or anyone on the new hires?
Yeah, I guess nothing out of the ordinary here. The city had kind of tempered down on hiring people as COVID began. So you see a lot that started there in the June timeframe. And then, you had a few kind of sprinkled in the beginning, early half of the year, but then kind of picked up a little bit here since June.
Yeah. What's the total number of employees for the city now? Anyone, just roughly, don't have to be exact, but
The total positions is 653.
okay.
But I know we're well under that. I don't have the exact number offhand. I don't know
Okay.
if anybody else does. I know we're usually hovering between 600 and 620.
Okay. I was just wondering too, how does that compare with when we had all the what do I want to call it?
Early retirement.
Really
That's
fair.
an early retirement. Thank you, Jim.
I believe at that time, and someone else can step in and correct me if I'm wrong, we had about 100 less positions.
Okay. That's fine. Just kind of curious. That was a while back, so we feel like we're staffed to a point that we can do what we need to do, I take it. So that's good. Okay, the third item here, 3C, is information only on disability retirement, page 33. Anything there to point out for the group?
I would just kind of pass that on. Lisa, anything particular with this one? Nope. Okay.
Okay. And then we have the investment activity of the retirement fund. It might be best just to kind of quickly pass over first quarter, which was a terrible time.
Mhm.
Maybe move to second quarter if you want to give us a summary. The best is to say that we went down a lot the first quarter, but we've come back, and I think we've recovered close to what we lost, but not maybe quite there yet. But
Yeah, I'd say
good
we're
news,
about 90% of the way back.
yeah, 90%. And I think as a retirement defined benefit retirement fund, where are we now? About 135% overfunded still, even
I
with
think it's right around 130.
130 now. Okay, thank you. So I didn't mean to sort of take all the glory here, but anything else you want to say about the investments, Steve?
You kind of highlighted it. March, I think the market dipped really big that last week in March, and so the quarter ended March was absolutely terrible at 20% loss, and then the subsequent quarter through June has been completely the other way. We're 15-20% gain. So it's definitely. I think the strategy that's been put in place by the investment committee has worked. One thing I'll just highlight is after everything dipped, we've been pulling from our bond funds, which allowed our equity position to stay whole, which gives that the time to kind of grow back and come back. And, I think that's proven itself to work well.
Yeah. Do you have the numbers? I can't remember what they were in terms of the percent equity at the end of the first quarter versus the end of the second quarter.
I can pull those up here pretty quick.
Okay. I mean, just to illustrate your statement that you just made, Steve, I think that's kind of an important one there.
Just pulling up the second quarter here. Do I have that somewhere here? Oh, you know what? That's the wrong file.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I think.
No, I think I got rid of it.
Yeah, we aren't up to the 70% still. At least we weren't at the end of the second quarter, but
I think we were somewhere around 67%.
something like that. Right. Yeah. So you can see what happened during the first quarter in March, as Steve just mentioned, that the equities really took a dive, and then we were able to pull from the bond fund to keep that keep from selling low, which is not what we want to do here if we can help it. So, the combination has served us well, and so I think we're gonna be out of the woods pretty soon, I hope, and hopefully we can stay there. I hope we don't have a second dip coming up anytime soon. This is enough to turn gray, a little grayer. So anyway, but I think we're holding on pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Any comments on that? I should just let anybody else weigh in if they'd like to on the investments. I think we still have, what's the number, Steve? I think the total number for us is still about 600 million or something like that.
650 million.
Yeah, 650 million. And then the investment committee also has the OPEP, which is doing well in terms of paying or keeping above the value or I guess the value of the bond it's paid down, so that's good, right?
Yeah, so that had, that fund, obviously in March it dipped, it came back, it was at about 91 million second quarter, and the bond is at about 82 million.
Yeah, so that's what we were hoping for, so that's good. So great. Okay, things are in these uncertain times, things are still looking up, at least up, not in terms of a fast increase, but up in terms of where we still have our heads above water, so that's great. Okay. All right. Anything else under communications reports to come to the group?
I guess under F, before we open up to the group, I just want to check if there's any public comment.
There is. One moment, please.
Okay. Where was that coming from?
They'll be playing that here shortly.
This is Ken Collard calling, city
Ken.
resident of 25 years, as a matter of fact. I had two questions regarding the pension status, I guess. First of all, curious whether there's been an uptick in either deferred retirements or refunds for Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. And secondarily, I've asked about the status of the pension fund funding based on the current staffing levels in deference to the early retirement assumptions relative to staffing levels. And I'd like to know how that analysis is proceeding or whatever conclusions may have been drawn. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Did you get those questions, Steve?
I did.
Okay. So we have the uptick. Is there an uptick in deferred and pensions and refunds, I guess, right? That's the first.
Yeah. I guess nothing that I'm aware of. Lisa would be the person with her finger on that button, so if she's heard anything.
Lisa, you're on mute. There you go.
I think the only thing that I've seen maybe is applications for public safety a little sooner than hitting the 25-year mark just because of that reciprocal service issue that's outstanding. But other than that, I don't think anything is out of the ordinary.
Okay. Ken, does that answer your question?
No, that was just a played recording.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
I thought
that's
you were
okay.
there. Okay, you can fool a lot of people a lot of the time here. Okay, so what about the funding part then?
So I think that's a much bigger question. I've worked with Ken in the past on that. It's he's trying to kind of come around with it here. I guess the way I approached it was not necessarily the way he envisioned it. I had approached it to kind of see what the early retirement did in comparison to city funds versus the retirement funds. And as you can imagine, that largely showed that, we had a lot of retirements at that time. So we immediately saw an increase in retirement liability and obviously some savings in the city funds. And so, that kind of played out as expected, but he was also interested in looking at the idea that whether this actually hurt the retirement funds in the long run. That's a bit of a trickier question because all the people that had retired under that early retirement, maybe not every single one, but majority of them were going to be eligible for retirement in the near future anyway. So I wouldn't say long term it would have had a large effect, but definitely an effect in the short term.
Okay, thank you. And I think we mentioned this at the investment committee meeting too, that in terms of the city's contributions, it's been a long time, right? And I can't remember how many years total, but still the city's been able to, make no contributions and still have the fund, be where it is. So I think that's a good sign for how the market's helped us out here over time. The 20 years already, or what? How many years?
22 years at this point.
22. Thank you. Okay. I'm not sure if that's quite what Ken had in mind for an answer to this question, but that's at least an observation that's worth saying, I think.
Hey, Steve, has Gabriel Roeder done any analysis for the future of whether payments need to be made? I think they don't they do like a 10-year outlook or something?
They do a 10-year outlook. I'm trying to remember. I don't have that off the top of my head.
You can
there
share
may
it.
have been-
You
There
don't
may
have-
have been expected contributions somewhere around year 10, or at least we're getting very close to that based on their assumptions. But I think we've also run into that before too, where, once you get so far out, it becomes a true kind of unknown.
Yeah.
So where they predicted that we'd make contributions before and we haven't had to do that yet, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks. One more thing about the investment committee itself. I just wanted to say that we're actively looking for some replacements for people who had to resign lately because of well, one is just because of the workload that they're facing under COVID, and so we're actively seeking individuals, and we have 3 or 4 good candidates that we're looking at, and 2 of them came to the meeting as guests last week, I guess it was, and then we have a couple more coming in probably in December. So it's a relatively slow process. We only meet 4 times a year like this committee does, basically, but we have good candidates, very well qualified. Remember, one of the requirements is that a person can't be actively employed by an investment company, and so that is a very good rule. I know I've been on investment committees in which we don't have that rule or didn't have that rule, and that caused some problems. So I think if we can find talented people like we have to fill the role of a committee member without that immediate employment, I think that certainly makes things less complicated. So, all right. So let's go around the table here, see if there's any comments from anybody, any questions. Michelle? No?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thanks. Jim?
Nope.
Okay, Tom?
No, sir.
Okay, so Chris?
No, sir.
Okay. Steve?
Nope.
Okay, Donna?
No, thank you.
Okay, Clyde?
Nope.
See, Lisa?
Nope.
No, Melissa? Okay, shaking your head, good. Let's see, anybody else? I don't see videos, but I see names, but I'll just say anybody else, okay? All right. Great, so you have as item 4, you have the future meeting dates, and our next meeting is Wednesday, December 2nd, okay? At 8 o'clock in the morning as usual. And so I don't know, we'll probably be virtual then too, who knows, but we will. Let's hope things get better, but we'll see. And look for an invitation from I think Neil's the one who sent it out this time, right, Neil? And so look for an invitation in your email as we approach that time. So anything else to come before the board at this moment? Okay.
Hey, Randy, I was just
Yeah,
gonna
Chris.
thank city staff. I know just a number of staff members who work really hard to make sure that these live virtual meetings take place at all weird hours of the day. And so just all those folks on the line and people who are listening as well, who also participate in whether it be the tree committee or Parks and Rec or our city commission meetings, trying to juggle sometimes upwards of 80 to 100 public comments. I just want to let everybody know we really appreciate you and all the hard work that you're putting in during this virtual period. I mean, you do always, but going above and beyond during this period. So thank you, everybody.
Well, thanks, Chris. That's a good statement to make because this is unusual and this is a very it's not easy to make sure everybody's on the line and visible like this and can be heard and everything like that. I think the Zoom product works real well. I've had other meetings with this, and so I think this is a good way to go. So,
Randy, I'll add to that as well that we've actually had other public bodies actually reach out to us to ask how we're doing it because we've done it so well.
Mhm.
And so again, I think that really speaks volumes to the process and how meticulous everybody makes this process work. So.
Oh yeah, right. Thank you. And I know our investment committee meeting last week was went very well too, just like this. It was a virtual meeting and had to bring people in from various places, of course, and everyone's at their house, or I guess most people are home, and so that just makes it a little more complicated. So thank you, Chris, for that. Anything else? Anybody else would like to make a comment before we adjourn? Okay, 8:30, not the shortest, but still in good time. So I appreciate everybody coming out so early this morning, and we'll see you in December. So thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.